Well, here's the route I intend to do today. This is off of Google Maps and it's a satellite overview. There's trails in there, though you can't see them, and right along here is a power line right of way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow a trail along here, and it's going to cross over a creek, and then from there I'm going to go cross country and follow a magnetic bearing, magnetic azimuth. I'm going to take it until right here, the center of this little lake, and that's about a half a mile. And then I'm going to go back to the northeast and head up right in here, and there's a pretty distinct stand of red pines right in there. So that's going to be my little cross-country compass course. Well, here are my three compasses. The old standby, the Coghlan in the middle, and the Brunton. I'm intending to use the Brunton on the first leg, the Coghlan on the second leg, and that's just because I'm going to bring it. I'm not using it. Howdy, folks. Well, I have commenced to go to my first landmark, and from there I will go cross country. I have on my snowshoes. Don't really need them on this trail, but once I get off the trail I will, and it's just easier to wear them now than to carry them. And if you saw my boot review, I'm wearing my Air Force boots, and they're pretty good for this. I have thicker socks on though than I did last time. Well, here I am at my first landmark, and I am standing in a creek. Hard to see it because it's covered with snow, but it crosses the trail right here, and this is my first landmark and my jumping off point. And I'm actually heading in that direction. I've already shot my azimuth. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but basically that tree right up there is my first intermediate landmark, and I will be heading up there and continuing on until I hit that lake. I'm going to cross over a power line right of way in the meantime at some point, and so I will get back with you when I feel you need to know more information. See you then. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but this is a mirror compass, and what I'm doing is I'm basically just holding it out at arm's length, and I get the north-seeking arrow to line up with that red outline in the bezel ring, and then I just look at the notches. They're kind of like rifle sights right in here, and that will point directly towards something that I can then walk towards. My course today is a magnetic course of 211 degrees, and I have already compensated for about 6 degrees of west deviation. So this is not the easiest terrain to move through with snowshoes on. A lot of deadfall, a lot of brush, and of course I got to try and step over it. I don't want to trip. So, but it's fun. I'd rather be doing this than sitting in the living room watching I Love Lucy. So I will move on. I think I see an opening up ahead. In fact, I do see the power lines up ahead. So when I get up there, things will open up a bit, and I will show you where I'm going to next. Well, I have just crossed over the power line right away, and my azimuth lined up pretty closely to the right, upright there that you see, but I didn't want to shoot an azimuth underneath it because the power lines might interfere with my compass. And so what I did was I've come a bit beyond it, and what's cool about this compass is to get a back azimuth, you just line up the white arrow with the red outline, and you've got your 180 degree reciprocal bearing from the one you were heading on. I've lined myself up with that upright, and now I can turn around and continue. I think this has just become my new favorite compass. Alright, I just went through a fun little patch here. That is not easy going in snowshoes, I'll tell you. My next landmark tree is up there on this side of that patch of snow that you can kind of see. And then it's a little bit of an uphill, and if memory serves, I was out here 3 or 4 years ago. There's a little bit of an open field, and then the lake should be on the other side, but we'll find out in a minute. One thing I have discovered is that when I stick my arm out to take a bearing, I'm often pointing about 30 degrees to the right of what turns out to be my course. So that's a pretty good indicator of trusting your compass, not your instincts. Well, this happens a lot. Was my landmark these two trees on the right or those two trees on the left? Hard to say for sure. I've walked about 100 feet, and of course when you take your eyes off of it, they look different when you get there. So I'm going to split the difference. I'll just stand in the middle here for my next shot. Well, those two pine trees over the top of the crest there are my next landmark, and I got a feeling that the lake is probably either behind them or it's on this side of it. So when I get to the top of the crest, if I have been successful in my navigation, I'll show you where I came out at. Well, I made it. I think the course I plotted on the map would have come out over there, you know, about 30 or 40 feet to my right. The lake kind of bows away from me right here, and that's where I plotted my course for. But I came out pretty close. But I'm pretty happy. I think this is my new frontline compass from now on. But I'll shoot the return journey using the Coghlan compass, and we'll see how well that does. Quick consultation with the map here, and my return azimuth is 51 degrees magnetic. I'm not going to take the same path back. I'm going to a different destination, but let's take that off macro. Those power lines there, those two uprights are on line with 51 degrees, so I'm going to get to the other side of them and shoot my next azimuth when I get there. Wow, was that ever a pain getting through that. Thorn bushes, choke cherry, all of that, just really thick. Yeah, I spilled some blood, but I guess it's better to sacrifice it this time of year. In June, the mosquitoes would take even more. So I've got this little clearing here. I believe I'm along a fence line again. Just gauging by the age of the trees. The really old ones tend to be on the fence line. And I have to go that way into the fun thicket again. Off in the distance though, right at the very top there, you might be able to see a hint of green, and I believe that is the stand of red pines I'm heading. I'm on my way. One thing that I'd like to point out while I'm thinking of it is I put my gloves or mittens on a string, and that means I can just toss it down, and I don't need to wear them or find an empty pocket to shove them in. And it's easy to keep track of them too. I just look down and see if they're there every once in a while. Of course, in terrain like this, the strings do get caught up in some of the underbrush, but then so do the snowshoes. They're kind of a mixed blessing, I guess. A lot of this stuff I can just step on it and push it down, but some of these bigger limbs I have to step over, and then the snowshoes are a bit of a hindrance at that point. Well, right through the brush right there looks like my destination, those pines, but this stuff between me and it is thick. I've been breaking through this for about 20 or 30 minutes now, and there's no obvious way to get through there. I just have to pick my way as I go. But my next waypoint is right in there somewhere. I'm going to reshoot it because I lost it already. But I'm almost there. I might make it home tonight. Well, I'm really trying not to cuss here. I'm trying to have a good attitude about it, but this is some pretty rough stuff to try and get through. And yeah, the trees and bushes were here before me, so what right have I got to complain that they're in my way, right? So anyways, my next landmark is that little tree right there, if I can get to it. So here we go. Hey, that wasn't so bad. What's really bad are these fallen trees, and they block your way, and I find if I step on them, sometimes they'll go right to the ground and I can get through easier, but you know, a lot of times you're bending down all this other brush to block me. So I can see my red pines in there. I think that's what they are. And I'm going to take another shot because that stand is a couple of 100 feet wide. But I'm going to take another shot and hopefully when I talk to you again, I'll be out of the woods. Please. Well, here I am. Here is the pine stand that I was aiming for, and I'm on the edge of it. It extends that way, but not much farther. It goes another couple hundred feet that way. But pinpointing it on the map where it's not actually on the map, and comparing that map to Google satellites, and just picking out the difference in foliage, and then trying to make a course that will go exactly there is not easy to do. But if I kept going, I'd go straight into it. So I'm definitely hit it, and very rough, very rough going in regards to the thickness of the brush back there. So wasn't easy, and the compass got me here, so I'm not going to complain. When I get back, I'll probably do a critique on the different compasses and let you know what I think overall. Well, I was very happy with the performance of both of these compasses. The one on the right is the Brunton 8040G, no longer being made. At the time it was made in the USA, and I really have nothing to fault it for, other than it slipped out of my hands a few times. It needs a thumb grip or something, a thumb hold. But it was quite easy to use and very precise, very accurate. I'm happy with it. Now this one, this is a Coghlan, and it doesn't have a number or anything that I could find. It just says combination lensatic map compass, and it's made in Taiwan. And I thought I was going to have some problems with it. That center dial there, that's the north-seeking arrow, is on that dial, and the numbers on there are so small, I thought I was going to have trouble seeing it, and I really didn't. Once I positioned the lens where it was clear, there were no problems. The bezel does move quite a bit, too easily in my opinion, and there's that lubber line or position line, whatever you want to call it, on it that moves with it. Well, when you have this portion up like that, you notice there's a little line in there, the lubber line, index line, what have you. Well, there's a reflection of that on the dial face of the compass, right in the correct spot. So I just used that, and I had no problem. So for that leg that I used the Coghlan, it was a little more difficult, and I didn't come out quite as accurately, but I'm not going to blame the compass for that. This index line or lubber line, this yellow thing, that moves really, really easily. There's nothing holding it in place. And that was a little bit of a problem, except that this line right there, when I hit it folded up, it would reflect right over where I needed it to reflect. So I just used that line instead of the yellow one to pick my azimuth, and it worked fine.